Hi, this is Amara, your spiritual tour guide. I'm here today with my friend Oisin. Oisin is a tarot reader and a teacher, and we had been talking a few days ago, and I asked him if he would come on with me and talk a little bit about his experience with the Passport to Prosperity. So, Oisin, I know you took the Passport to Prosperity a few months ago. Would you be willing to share some of your experiences from that time?
Most definitely, Amara. The first thing, I did not actually make it all the way through the class. I actually got stuck at vertical time and just never got unstuck from there. I would have to say that it really wasn't an instant result of like all of a sudden money was being handed to me and this great abundance just showed up. I think it was many months of slow, maybe even almost unrecognizable transformation happening. I mean, I had been so ready to, as you know, leave Pittsburgh for like 2 years. And I really started looking into like Philly and New Jersey. And in this, the universe actually called me back home because my dad's health got shaky. And of course, my grandmother is now 82 and has battled diabetes for 50 years. So, that's where I feel the real transformation began because I my dad has been clean and sober for 6 years and we've had a pretty good relationship, but there's so much of our past that I think energy wise, we have never really worked out. And being now in the same house with him, it was really funny because when I first moved in, I went through a lot of time where I felt like I was a 16-year-old kid living with him when that's when I last lived with him. And it took me a while to come out of the fact that like I didn't have to ask permission to go to the gas station to buy cigarettes, or like if I wanted to go on a date, I didn't have to ask permission. Or it took a while for me to kind of step into my adulthood. And then from there the transformation really started to grow. I found a really amazing therapist that I've been working with for a long time, and I have to give a shout out to her because she's been a huge process, a part of my transformation. And then my sponsor, he has also been a huge part of my transformation. My dad has been a huge part of my transformation. My stepmom, who is very much a mother to me, has been a huge part of my transformational process. And as things have kind of gone on, things have been shifting a lot around the house. And there was this moment I can really recall clearly now that Terry, when I first moved here, we were always all eating in our bedrooms. We never had sat down at a table to eat. And frankly, we were eating a lot of like processed junk, and none of us were really feeling good physically from that. Well, Terry decided that we needed a real kitchen table with chairs to sit down at. And from there, like, we all share cooking duty now, and we just kind of started sitting down as a family and having a family dinner every night. And then like I jumped into another moment where there's a movie called Love, Simon. It's one of my favorite movies. It's super cute and I wanted my dad and Terry to watch it. Well, I mean, little ego here, but I have the best TV in the house and the best sound system. So a couple Saturdays ago after dinner, my dad made a great dinner, and then I made popcorn and we had candy bars and sodas, and we piled on, reclined against my wall where you can see my tapestry, and watched Love, Simon. And that was an amazing experience. And from there, things really culminated because I had gotten a letter from the state of Nebraska, and I'm on a program called AABD, which is essentially I'm on disability, so I get extra money from the state of Nebraska. And I'm not sure how, but AABD made a calculation and told me they had underpaid me by $325. And then from there, like, I'm able to pay off my car a month early. And that means in January, I have $100 freeing up. And then we get our cost of living, which is really high in Social Security this year. It's like almost $90. And then the other day, I went to 50 Shades of Green and walked into my CBD store. Normally, I spend $60 a month on 2 jars of CBD. This time I walk in, they have 142 count for $77. That's 3 months of CBD for me. So starting in January, I now have another $60 that just kind of suddenly came in. And I mean, I have met Paul, who, I mean, we're dating and we're intensely attracted to each other and have an amazing connection and spark, which was totally unexpected, obviously. And that's another just awesome piece of like good emotional abundance. And then, like it feels like it was such a slow amount of transformation, and then suddenly it was like this huge explosion of abundance in my life. And I mean, for me as a person, I didn't have a great childhood, and when things got good, it was time to duck. And I've been doing a lot of work about you will not duck, you deserve these things, they are your right, you have self-worth, you are valuable. And I was thinking about one of the lessons in the situation about that in order to call abundance and the good things in, you have to believe you're worthy of them. And that's a really important aspect of the class, that you have to believe you're worthy. And it's not that someone's going to hand you $1 million, but it's just about claiming your right to your worthiness. And that, even if you come from a poor dysfunctional family, that doesn't make you less worthy of extra abundant money and being able to pay the bills and have extra left over. And so, I mean, I think, it was a lot of slow transformation in my situation, but it kind of all culminated in this last couple of weeks. And I said to you privately that whatever greater force is at work, I'm happy for it, and just keep going. And then I kind of realized I was the greater force at work. It's my own soul at the greater force of the work at this point. And realistically, all I have to do is not let my human self get in the way of the greater force of my own soul working. And so, I mean, for people interested in the class, it really is it's a great opportunity. And what you can take out of it is up to you. And it comes down to where you're at in your life when you start, and being open to how it will shift across what could be months or years of life.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think it's really interesting that you got stuck at vertical time, because I kind of see that you have, done some work and then stepped into the holy moment or vertical time, the place where you were, this doesn't really resonate with me, but like now you're there. So what does that feel like to you now that you kind of got to the place that was confusing?
It's still a little confusing sometimes. I practice a particular branch of witchcraft, and I'm really trying to rededicate myself into that. And it's not an easy branch by any stretch of the imagination at all. In fact, it's a very hard branch and very rigorous. Um, but I remember when I first started learning that branch, the work was so uncomfortable for so long. And then I got used to it and it wasn't uncomfortable anymore. And I feel like as I've kind of stepped into this holy place with myself about abundance and right and worth and deserve and claiming, and it can still be a struggle for me emotionally and spiritually, but it's more about that's okay that you struggle with it still. um it's okay to struggle, just don't block at this, don't let your energy block out what's coming, because if you're the one blocking it, it will not come. So I guess that's how I would answer that question.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it sort of speaks to what we all have as, we all have some amount of struggle in our lives because we're in the, we have animals visiting us. We have so many things that happen on the plane of form, but I think when we start thinking about other stuff, like we start noticing the things that we are truly lucky for, and the struggle seems less dire because
Yeah.
it becomes a smaller part of the whole. And I think you've experienced that.
Oh, and definitely, and it's funny because this morning I put on Facebook, I my dad's wife, my stepmom, and I were joking a little bit, and I said, I don't, Terry, I just don't know what to call you anymore. And she looked at me and she went, kid, call me mom. And I was like, oh, I can do that. And there wasn't even a second thought about it. And you know, it's funny because I had, my biological mother and I had been very disconnected for a very long time. And, midsummer this year, we started reconnecting and talking, and things are going pretty well there. And like, it seems like we're going to have an okay relationship. And I'm really happy about that. But this morning, after Terry and I were talking, I'm a smoker. So I stepped out to smoke, and I was standing there and I went, you are a lucky son. How many stepchildren can really say they feel like their stepmom treats them as if they came right from her loins? And yet right here you are with a mom who truly treats you like you are her own child, and you feel that way about her. It's not even her treating you, it's a totally reciprocated thing, and realistically, when people ask, I just say I live with my parents, I'm 37 and I'm on disability. And I do not, and that's where my explanation is. I don't justify that. I don't have to justify that I'm 37 and living with my parents. You know, the only
That's
qualifier I give is I'm on disability, and being on a fixed income, you have to be very aware of your financial situation at all times.
Well, this has been such a wonderful chat, and I so appreciate that you're willing to talk to me. And I just wanted to say, you besides being on disability, you have your own gig. So do you
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about what you do besides that?
Oh, thank you, Amara. Absolutely. So, as Amara said, I am a teacher. I'm currently distance teaching a student in uh, witchcraft in Pittsburgh, and he's a fantastic student of mine. I'm really proud of him. I am definitely open to distance teaching, as well as I have over 20 years of experience reading tarot cards. It's a very natural gift that I think I was born with. So if you want to check out my YouTube, which is going to be in the comments, which is Oisin Sabin, and it's also going to be in the comments, my Facebook page for tarot. It has my phone number, as well as you can send me a message to ask for appointments. I do video distance readings. If you're in the Omaha or Bellevue area, I do in person as well. The one thing I do want to throw out there is a lot of times if I don't recognize a number on my caller ID, I won't pick up. However, if you get my voicemail, it does say, "You've reached Oisin Taro. Leave me a message. I'll get back to you." Amara, thank you for having me come on and do the interview, and at the end, letting me talk about my own gig that I have on my own life.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and abundance is abundance and it's abundance. And I am very in favor of all of the people who take the prosperity class helping each other. And so I'm glad that you get to share that. I'm going to stop the recording.